Alrighty, folks, and welcome back to the climate. Wait, shoot, no, I did it wrong. Okay, welcome back to the climate classroom. I am here. I'm Sarah. If you have forgotten who I am, but today we have a very exciting announcement. We have a brand new host on our podcast. Holly, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Holly. I'm a sophomore in Corvallis, Oregon, and I really enjoy writing, whether that's fiction or nonfiction. Um, and I really enjoy getting outside, and environmentalism is something that I've gotten into in the past couple years, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah. What are some things that you want to talk about on the podcast?
Um,
What are okay, your dream podcast topic? What do you talk about?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Um,
What could you yap about forever?
I could yap about people's stories in particular. So if there was a specific topic, I would want to find as many different perspectives on it as possible and share as many.
I gotcha. So you're a perspective gal.
Give
I
me any
gotcha.
topic, and I would love to find eight different perspectives, and break it down from there.
For today's episode, we're gonna do a little something a little bit different. We're gonna do a mini-sode. So this month, I know that you probably missed us last month. We were all really busy, and if you're in high school, you might have had a lot of tests. Or I feel like March is always a really busy month for some reason. And so I'm sorry, we couldn't record a podcast for you guys. Um, but this month we are doing two, so there'll be a shorter one now, and then a longer one later. But we're gonna talk about a few different little things, just to do a little, mini yap session. So we're gonna cover two different topics. Holly is gonna talk about some really cool legislation, bill type stuff that's going on in the Our Future community, which is the organization that we work for. And then I'm gonna talk about one of my loves, one of my yap topics. I
She's
love
been very
fish.
excited to talk about this.
I've been waiting for this since the first episode. I know that we haven't had that many, but I just love fish and I love talking about fish. And there's really cool stuff going on with dam removals and just bringing salmon back to their native, I don't know, breeding grounds, if that's what you call it. But since it is Holly's first time on this podcast, I'm going to let her talk about her little section first.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
I
course.
appreciate it. Yeah, I have a bunch of different things to talk about today. So, essentially, Our Future Oregon and a lot of different organizations around, centered around environmentalism, have a lot of interesting bills going through Oregon legislature right now.
You've actually attended a few of the in-person days, haven't
Yeah,
you?
so I attended lobbying for the climate education bill, as well as testifying and speaking at the rally for SJR 28, which is, I'm definitely going to talk about that first because it's definitely the biggest thing that we have going on right now. Um,
That's such a cool experience. I'm jealous. I couldn't make it out,
yeah,
but
it's
it looked like so much fun.
it's really fun. It's definitely a bit nerve-wracking, but not something that I would have ever thought that I'd be doing, but it's fun. It's fun to put yourself out there. So, to start us off, SJR 28, or Senate Joint Resolution 28, aims to amend the Oregon Constitution to include the people's right to a clean, safe, and healthy environment. The whole point of the joint resolution is just to have it, enshrined in the Constitution that this is a priority, and that the people do have a right to a safe environment. Um, because I don't know, the way that I see it, it's very hard to fill out a lot of the other human rights categories
Oh,
without
yeah.
a safe environment. I
Yes.
feel like it's definitely the baseline. Um,
I'm excited to see it go into
yeah,
effect.
absolutely. Because this would allow Oregon courts to prioritize environmental health in cases, because there have been a lot of cases where the court is essentially unable to provide justice because it's not in the Constitution.
Do you know if there's any other states that have similar like
Yeah, so if this were to go into effect, then Oregon would be the fourth state in the United States with this type of amendment. The most recent is in 2021, and then the two previous to that, their states' constitutions were amended to include environmental rights in the early 70s.
Wow. So the jump was from the 70s till the 20s. That's crazy. That's concerning, but that's, action, any action is good action.
It just had a hearing and rally on March 26th. Um, and if,
So this is really recent.
yes,
This is
yeah,
like action
yeah.
right now. Okay.
And we had
Very
a
cool.
whole lot of people testifying. So, um, testifying in person, we had 50 testifiers. Um,
Wow. That's
yeah,
insane.
39 of which, including myself, were in support. From the supporting side, we had uh, the age range was 11 to 80. We did have an 80-year-old testifying, and we had
11.
an 11-year-old testifying.
Wow.
Yeah,
That takes like some serious guts to go up there as an 11-year-old. Are you
yeah.
kidding me? I could not. I wouldn't have that courage as an
No, me
11-year-old. That's
neither. She
really
was like,
impressive.
and I'm not gonna, name drop her here, but she was fantastic.
No.
Just an 11-year-old girl from Portland.
Oh,
It like, her mom drove her up, but clearly didn't like, like this was all her, right? She wrote her testimony, she gave her testimony, and she gave a speech at the rally, and she was nervous for sure, but she did fantastic. Like I was so impressed.
oh, those are like those are the kinds of stories that make me so happy that like there are youth. I mean, we're here, but like youth younger than us that are, involved in like that is a huge involvement to, go up and speak about this at 11. That's just my mind is blown. At 11 I was like hiding in the corner reading Harry Potter. Like I could not have done
She was
that.
fantastic and super inspirational. And then, on the opposing side, we had a lot of corporate people. We had a lot of people from industries that are sometimes known for um, being a bit detrimental to the environment.
I mean, I feel like it would be kind of hard to argue against having a clean and safe environment. Like,
Yeah, a lot of the testimonies started out with like, I am all for a clean and healthy environment, but
oh, okay. A lot of
yeah,
butts.
and
Yeah.
a lot of the argument against it is that it might open the floodgates to basically a bunch of court cases against industries and small businesses, small farms, and all that type of thing, which is very interesting because that's not how it works. Because farms and businesses and specific companies, they don't have the responsibility of upholding the Constitution. That's the government and the justice
No.
system. I'm planning on giving updates like whenever there's a big update on one of these bills that I'm talking about. So this one is just really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing it in the next voters ballot.
For Oregon voters out there, look for it on the next ballot that you get in the mail.
And then to move on to another one, this is another one that I was active on, which is House Bill 3365, relating to climate change instruction in public schools, creating new provisions and amending ORS 329.045. This act essentially aims to arm students with environmental knowledge and help them in developing their future career. So how this would go into effect would be essentially the curriculum standards for Oregon schools would be updated to include environmental and climate instruction and education wherever relevant.
That makes me so happy. Oh my gosh. My favorite class in high school, I think almost like my favorite class that I've ever taken has been my environmental systems and societies class. And I think that environmental education is such like a vital like tool to get people involved in causes like this. Like that's one of the reasons that I want to be a park ranger is because I get to educate people about climate change and environmentalism, and it's just such a great tool about like just raising awareness. That's so
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna ask like if it was going in for like elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, like what curriculum would it
I think
impact?
it would be all three. I think it would just be all relating
Awesome.
curriculum. Obviously, it would get more complicated
Oh,
as
that's
time goes
sick.
on, but like, what's really interesting about this is that it would not only be, including like classes about environmental research and stuff like that. It would also be including environmental education into other classes, especially career technical education classes. So, in an engineering class, its curriculum would then include most likely sustainable engineering practices or learning about infrastructure needs created by climate change. So, like, obviously, climate change is changing our job markets and our economy, right? So, there are going to be a whole lot of different jobs created by climate change, and current jobs are going to be changed by climate change and what's like, the needs that are going to present themselves. And so, especially in CTE classes, this bill would be incredibly important because it would, help students understand the differences and the changes that are going to happen.
That's such a cool, like, change to
Yeah,
education.
yeah, and I think it's absolutely needed because if there's going to be
100%.
a change to the job market and the world, then yeah,
Literally, it's a global change, and we all need to adapt
exactly,
and
yeah.
change. And I honestly think that education as a whole is a little bit outdated. Um, but, we'll see where education goes in America for now.
A lot of people who oppose this bill essentially argue that it will add more to teachers' workloads. And obviously, that is a big concern, right? Because we don't want to add any more to teachers' workloads. Teachers are overworked and underpaid
Teachers
severely.
are like, there's a word for it. I'm forgetting the word. They're like the
Underappreciated?
the
Foundation.
foundation. The foundation
Oh,
of America. That is
okay,
what I
so
was
for
looking
those of
for.
you who, aren't able to see the camera, which is everybody but Sarah and I, Sarah just stuck up her finger and widened her eyes and looked very nerdy.
And I have I have new glasses, I have new frames, and I look like the nerd emoji.
Absolutely. I
And
just
so
feel
I
the need to
stuck up
mention
my finger.
that.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
I'm bullying Sarah and I feel bad. Sarah, you look beautiful. I think the glasses are cute.
Thank you. Thank you. And I can see now.
Yay! That's
It's
also, that's
perfect. It's a
quite a
beautiful
perk.
thing. Yes. Okay, you were talking
Yes.
about the Board of Education. Go
So
back.
the
Go
answer
back.
is no, teachers' workloads will not be impacted. Because the thing is, the State Board of Education already periodically revises and updates curriculum standards. So essentially, what this would do would basically mean that next time that they're updating the curriculum standards, they just have to include standards for climate education, which means that it's not going to add more to their workload because they're already revising the standards.
Literally.
I really like this bill because it's just great. It's a really great push in the right direction for um, proper preparedness for the future. Obviously, some people have a lot more power and ability to make large changes than others, but I just wish that everybody did a little bit more pitching in because this is going to affect all of us.
Exactly. It's not gonna just affect
No,
some
it's going to
people,
affect everybody.
whether like yeah, no matter if you're trying to change or not, it will affect you. That's not to say that you need to stop doing your personal efforts because they all add up, they all
Mm-hmm.
matter. It's just we need large action too. This podcast is creating positive change and we are making a difference and all these really cool bills and legislation are all going to pass, fingers crossed, knock on
Yeah.
wood. And they're going to make the world a better place.
Keep your head up
And that's what
held high. That
matters.
isn't to say that you can't, be like, you don't have to be positive all the time in these times because it's
No,
hard to care about things like this and be positive all
it's
the
so
time.
hard.
You
It's
have to
so
remember,
hard.
even when things get really, really tough, it's okay to sulk for a while, but in all, you have to, lift your head up and do what you can.
Yeah. I have to be better about that. I get really in my head about, especially as I'm going into college and I'm trying to figure out like possible jobs
Hmm.
for afterwards. I have to think about, oh, do I want to live in the US and try to find an environmental internship, which is pretty hard, um, especially with lack of federal
Hmm.
funding. But, I think that knowing that there are other people out there is the biggest thing that's keeping me going, like this podcast.
Bees. I love bees, guys.
Okay, you guys could see, but she just did the most like anime. Oh my god. Oh, maybe we should make this a video podcast because the facial expressions, the animation is just it's too good to not show.
Just
No, she's been talking about bees for weeks. Like I'm not even joking. Every time we have a meeting, she's like, "Can I talk about bees?" And so now she has her
Guys, I
time to
really
talk
love
about
bees.
bees.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this bill, and then I'm going to segue into like a very short, like 1 minute rant about my bees experience recently. Actually, no, you know what? I'm too excited. I'm going to do that now. So
Do it, do it, do
So a
it.
few weeks ago, I went into my garage and I saw this massive bumblebee just like hanging out on a piece of wood, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Picked it up and it was all
Stop.
lethargic, and I was like, "Oh, you poor baby." So I took it into my room and I gave it a bunch of
That's so
sugar
sad.
water, and it was like sipping it out of
Hmm.
my hand, and I was like, "Oh, you cutie." And then I kept trying to put it down on a leaf outside, but I think like. I looked it up and I think bees like, they really like warmth, and this was still while it was a little bit colder. So it like wouldn't go off of my hand, so I kept like nudging it onto a leaf, but then it would automatically crawl back onto my hand. I think because it was warm, but we just like hung out in the sun for a little bit with like she was just
That is
crawling
so
around my arm like a cutie.
that is so
And I was
sweet.
worried that I
Oh
was
my
worried that she
god.
couldn't fly, but eventually she got over her lethargy, if that's the word, because I gave her all that sugar
Left,
water,
left, left.
and she flew away from me, and then she a bunch of yards away from me, and then she flew all the way back and flew around me, and then she like perched right next to me and did a little booty dance, and I looked it up, and apparently how bees that's what bees do when they are spreading their basically pheromone that says like, hey, other bees, come here because here is good. It has resources and stuff. So like it's
Oh my god,
um
stop. That is
and then yeah, it just
perfect.
flew away and I was like, okay, so
Okay, so you're like the new queen. Hello? Here, I have to show you. I have a bee
I
wallet
love bees.
actually. No. No, really? Wait, what? I had no idea. You love bees?
um my
That's really funny.
I feel like we're slightly
God.
getting more and more unhinged, but it's okay. Um
This is the first time recording a podcast with us. You don't know how bad it gets.
Aspen is a
Okay, our
saint.
last episode, Aspen is a saint. I love, you're gonna edit this so well, but last episode, I was a little like behind the scenes for you guys. That episode was over 2 hours long when we recorded it, um, for us, because we went on so many side tangents. We were yapping for over, I think it was like 2.5 hours.
It's fun.
It was,
It's fun to talk with you guys.
it's so much fun, and it's like, you have to like imagine that you're like talking to like a little audience of people because like it's just us two like in a call. But it's really fun. It's really silly, and if you have a podcast out there, for all you listeners, I would love to listen to it. I love podcasts.
Really,
They're so
they
much
are.
fun. Anyway, we will not be
No.
sidetracked. We will be, but not again. Maybe, perhaps. Holly, you talk about your bill.
Yes, exciting. Um
Yes.
HB 2679. This restricts the use of neonics. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But that is a
What
powerful
are
neonics.
neonics?
I'm glad you asked, Sarah. Thank you. Um, Neonics are a
Oh wow.
powerful herbicide that kill bees. Which I'm crying right now. I'm
You're
crying.
joking.
Yep. Um,
Yeah, she's actually
yeah,
sobbing her
actually.
eyes out right now.
Um, it is the most widely used insecticide, I think, all over the world, and can contaminate soil, water, and pollen, which leads to long term exposure to bees. So it's not only the short term, it contaminates the environment and it leads to long term effects. And this is like, super deadly for a lot of pollinators, but particularly bees. Um, they,
That's so sad.
yeah,
Wait.
so it's just to invoke some empathy here in my listeners here who might not be as bee happy as I am, might think, ew,
Yes.
bees. Uh, I hope you know that when neonics come in contact with these bees, it damages their nervous systems, causing paralysis and death, a slow death.
That's so
So I hope
sad.
you know.
And I mean, okay, not only for bees. I mean, bees, yes, are the impacted groups, but like the fact that it like contaminates like both water, soil, like literally everything. That's really bad.
Yeah, it's sad. So this bill essentially restricts the usage of it and requires a lot more steps in order to use it, right? So right now I think
Mm.
right now it's not very difficult to get your hands on this stuff and to spread it. You have to have um, like a pesticide use license, but this bill classifies them as restricted use and limits the purchase and application to licensed individuals. So even those who have received proper training are going to have a harder time accessing this because, hey, guess what? There are better options. This is,
Mind is
yep,
blown.
and this one is really sad and it's really detrimental to environments. Um, Bee populations are declining very scary rates. You know, we need to protect them as much as we can. If there is a bill that is to protect the bees, it's this one. So, you know, save the bees.
That is so cool. We need
Mm-hmm.
bees
Um,
for multiple
yeah.
reasons. Well, those are all very exciting, like, bills, and, like, there's so much going on at this time, like, right now.
Yeah. Um, I'm going to briefly mention two others, but not go into detail on them. Um, these are sort of less like environmental, but you know, they will have environmental impact. So there is House Bill 3012, which lowers the voting age for school board elections to 16.
That is very cool. I've heard about this. I am very
Yeah.
excited. I mean, I will be past 16 by then, but it's still very
I mean
cool.
it gives students a voice in their governance. Yeah, so that's really cool. And then there is the Youth Pass, which is essentially um, a fairless transit for Oregon youth, for Oregonians under the age of 22 or 22 years and younger, to ride transit free in Oregon on all public transportation. So,
That's so
and
cool.
you know, environmentalism, we're all for public transportation. We love public transportation.
I love public transit.
Exactly.
I wish we had better options here in Bend, but any public transit is good
Yeah.
public transit.
So this, I really like this one. I actually had my cousin, name drop, Clara. um,
Name drop alert.
she helped out with some advocation for this. Here's a quote from her: "Free youth pass could help me get to and from my summer job and go out to places day to day without having a car. Since I'm not old enough to get a license, TriMet is the best way of transportation for me and my peers." So this is really important for youth, especially if you want, yeah, you want
Yeah.
active youth. You want your kids to get a job. You want your kids to, you know, do cool things. They need to be able to have transportation, um, and we need to encourage public transportation. How do we encourage public transportation? Make it free.
Make it
Make it
free.
free. Um,
Literally.
yeah, and for college students, this is also fantastic because, you know, there are so many college students who struggle with, like, so many, you know, transportation issues. Um,
Oh, don't even get me started. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next year, and that is a very scary problem.
Everybody here, make sure you advocate for
Yes.
this just for Sarah in particular. Um, yeah.
Yes, just for me. No, no.
What do you mean, no? Yes. Um,
Yes.
so now I will hand it over to you for the fishings.
Okay. Little transition. So I absolutely love fish. I think I have a fish sticker on every single thing that I own. My phone case has little koi fish on it. It's very cute, very cutesy. Um, I love fish with my whole heart. I'm gonna get a fish tattoo, actually. I did some research on this really cool removal project. So it's called the Klamath Basin Dam Removal Project. And I did the research for this for a school project. If any of you guys listening are in IB, you know, maybe if you're doing global politics, for the IB global politics exam, whatever, you have to create these like 10-minute presentations about a certain like topic and talk about its political implications and yada 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 yap. And I obviously want to talk about fish. And so this project the main beef of it is in the last like 10 or so years, but I think that it's like important to get some of like the context. So these dams, there are four dams built along the Klamath River. Um, the Klamath is like a river that runs through Northern California and Southern Oregon. There's like obviously Klamath, Oregon, which is like a town. Klamath Falls, sorry, my bad. Klamath Falls is like a town. And these four dams, one is Copco 1, Copco 2, Big Ben, and Iron Gate. Those were the four dams built, and those were all built in the early 1900s. The latest Iron Gate was built in 1962, and these were initially built just in that time. America was kind of going crazy with like infrastructure and development, just like, oh, dam here, dam there, just dams everywhere. And so this dam was just kind of built for rerouting rivers and making more space for development projects. And it was later turned into a facility for like hydropower to make it like sort of environmental, to make it better, because dams are really detrimental to areas. Fish need rivers that can run through, not dams. And this was around the time that coho salmon became on the endangered species list, and so that was in 1997. And the biggest, like the most, like the biggest issue with this dam came in the early 2000s. So during the, like, I think it was like the summer of 2001 or 2002, there was this really bad drought in the area. And in southern Oregon, there are tons of agriculture and farm areas. And so they needed to reroute water from the dam or from the river to their crops. And so they can have like irrigation systems and, making a profit for the area. And the rerouting of the water from the lower river, like past the dam, the water levels were too low for the salmon, and so it caused the death of 70,000 adult salmon, which is quite a lot. And so that was like the biggest environmental issue, or like, I don't know what you call it, like event from the dam. And that was kind of like a biggest like wake up call for locals, especially because, okay, so not only are fish really important for like the like food chains and like, overall like river health, the indigenous communities down in the Klamath area are heavily reliant on the river for a source of food. And so if one year there's going to be a loss of 70,000 adult salmon, you're going to have a divot in food supply, because those salmon are not going to be able to come back and lay their eggs. Because salmon are a really cool species, because they grow up and they live in a river and they go out to the ocean. There's a name for them. It's like I call them dual citizenship, because they can live in both freshwater and salt water. And so they're dual citizenship. And so they can just, come and go as they please, but usually they grow up in rivers and then they go live their lives out in the ocean and then they come back and lay their eggs. And so with this like generational divot with the 70,000 gone, that created a whole trickle effect for the years to come of population decline.
Yeah.
And so it was just overall awful for different groups, and like indigenous communities didn't have food. Fishery workers had to lose their jobs because there wasn't fish coming through. Yeah. It was a really bad day for fish, bad day for people who love fish, bad day for people. And so then in like the 2000, bad day for everyone. And if you don't like fish, you should hop on the fish loving train.
I'm thinking about it honestly, like.
You should. Hold on.
I mean,
I just bought a ton of really cool salmon stickers.
I have like a soft spot in my heart for salmon, because I did the thing that I think a lot of people do, where in 5th grade you like get a bunch of salmon eggs, and then you hatch the salmon eggs and you have little baby salmon, and then did you not do that? Oh.
No! Wait, I want to do this. Where can wait, are you kidding me? I want to raise a little baby fish.
I hope they're all doing well now. What are salmon's lifespans?
I wish I knew. I should look that up
right now.
I know that it's more than 1. Possibly more than 2.
3 to 5 years.
She's looking at 3 to 5 years. Okay, so that would have been a while. They're gone. But their babies are alive.
Exactly.
Hopefully. And their grandchildren. Anyway, going back to the Klamath Dam removal project. So in the early 2000s, 2010s-ish, an agreement was reached between, both, like, I'm trying to remember the names. So it's, like, the Klamath Basin, Restoration Agreement, or KBRA, Cobra, whatever you call it, was called for, like widespread investments, like to create like a water sharing plan between farmers and indigenous tribes and like environmentalists who were pushing for the reallocation of water for
Yeah.
fish, basically. And so an agreement was reached. They created a water sharing plan, but farmers didn't really agree. They took more than their share because they felt that because the water that was like allocated for them was going towards like economic growth and like boosting the economy and like their own personal sales, that like it was more important for them to have the water, which I mean, I understand to a certain extent. Like your family is reliant on the money that you make from uh, selling crops and all that kind of stuff. But
And especially taking into account, like what you said before about the indigenous communities that are reliant on these salmon, right? Like, this isn't something
exactly,
that's just going to go away. This is something that's like detrimental to a lot of people and a lot of fish.
exactly, a lot of fish need water because fish live in water.
Yeah,
If you
guys,
didn't know.
if you didn't know, fish kind of need
Headlines, breaking alert of
breaking
breaking
alert.
alert.
Fish now need water, and actually always have.
Fish need water to live.
So
Breaking news. Um, anyway, in 2016, the agreement failed to pass Congress, so they weren't able to move forward. Then later in 2016, the hydroelectric dam thing got passed, and so that was used. So then the water that was used from the water filtered through the dam was used to create hydroelectric power, which is a really cool form of energy. But dams are expensive, and the hydroelectric machinery, I don't know what you call it. The processing stuff, it's really
mhm.
expensive, and while it's not like sustainable on like a large scale, it's really cool for like small communities like Klamath Falls and areas that like a dam wouldn't work to power a city, but it would work to like to power like
Yeah,
a
and I
town.
feel like that's it's a
Um,
good like it's a good starting point in terms of like reusable energy and finding out what we can use. Um,
exactly. Anyway, a lot of like interesting stuff happened between 2016 and 2020. Like they instead of going through Congress, they decided to make the dam removal project like a privatized thing, so they didn't have to work with Congress and those like they hired like contractors and they did it more within their government themselves instead of going through Congress, which is a whole long spiel of things to do. So that ended up going through. That worked. So they talked to their local government, and that ended up working. The agreement was reached in 2020, and as we all know, 2020 was a very hard year for projects in person. And so during the COVID years, it was like that's when they figured out all of like the I don't know. There's a lot of paperwork that comes with removing a dam. If you didn't know, lots of things to sign and just the issues with it. And during 2020 and all like their, paperwork signings, a bunch of scientists had to do research on the river and what would happen if we removed the dam and like all like the possible situations. And they had found that at that point that the salmon had been struggling for decades and that there was less than 5% of their historical abundance or like historical population. Like they had this huge population of like a big number, and then
Guys,
only
think of
5%
20
is
fish,
happening
okay?
now.
20 fish. Suddenly,
And
there's only
now,
one fish, guys.
four
No, there's
fish. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, numbers. Numbers, numbers, numbers. I can't
I
do
really
math.
appreciate your effort.
I said
I
four
really,
so
I really
confidently.
appreciate your effort. Um, 4 is
So
a
bad.
good 20%, of 20. Hey, this isn't the math classroom. This is the climate classroom.
This is literally
Eh,
eat that
eh.
up. Okay. Um. Anyway, so there's like scientists still they're kind of like researchy things and removing the dams would unlock like 300 miles of new or old fish habitat that is now new again, like 300 miles of it, which is really cool, and that's like crucial for getting the salmon population back up from that 5%, which is one in 20 salmon. So towards the end of 2021, I think in September-ish, consultations were all figured out about removing the dam, and they were going to start figuring out how to actually do this. So they got all of the environmental permitting done because there's obviously a lot to do with dams. And the final, the very first dam was removed in 2023, and that was Copco 2. And the Copco 2 dam was to divert the river, and so that got removed. So that's boom, out of there in 2023, which is 2 years ago already. Crazy. The rest of them were removed in the summer of 2024. But the last one was removed on October 3rd of 2024. And so that was the very first time with that dam, like, there's a video of it somewhere online of it exploding. Because when you do like dam removals, you like blow it up with like dynamite. It's really cool.
Just imagine like all the salmon cheering.
So they're like flooding through the gates, and it's a whole like they're all cheering and screaming because that's what fish do. And so that was the very first time in like over 100 years that the Klamath was able to run free. And so while we don't know the impact currently of the dam removal because it's only been like 5 months, 6 months, this has been like I've been following this for years. I think I first heard about it when the first dam was removed, and I was like, I should do more digging, and so I did. But I think that it's a really cool project and that it's the first of its kind. And I think that having it in Oregon is just really cool. But also, dam removal projects or removing infrastructure that's detrimental to the environment, because it happens somewhere else could implement something similar in their county or area. And so I think it's just it's really cool that this could be impactful across the U.S. or even globally.
And like you said, we don't know the impact yet, but once we do, fingers crossed it's an overall net positive. I feel like this can influence a lot of other dam removal projects. And not only dams, just in general, environmentally detrimental infrastructure, like you said. This doesn't have to only inspire dam removal. I feel like this could be,
Yes, it could be. Besides just fish, even though I love fish, this could help a lot of other creatures, maybe even bees, perhaps. Perhaps a crossover episode?
Wait.
Perhaps? Wait, maybe we are onto something. Anyway, that was a little blurb. I went really fast through all that, but if you want more information, there is a ton of information out there if you want to know more about the Klamath Dam removal, and I'm sure that in the coming months and years, and especially during salmon hatching season, not sure when that is, but I know that that's a thing. That they're going to be doing a lot more research on salmon numbers and how they're obviously going to increase, but there is going to be so much more information coming soon. So you can just Google the Klamath Basin Dam Removal Project, and then you'll get more information. I'm trying to think of anything else we wanted to wrap up. I mean, overview, Holly likes bees, I love fish. There's a lot of really cool things happening in Oregon, including legislation work and dam removal projects. We're just the hub of progress.
Literally,
I guess.
we're just so cool.
We're just so cool. Anyway, this has been a really fun episode, and the reason that we are here is that we work for this organization called Our Future, and we usually work on we work based on the way that the school year works, and so our semester usually is ending in late May, early June, depending on how things work out. But this year, due to lack of federal funding and budget cuts and whatever stuff happens. But we are ending at the end of this month. You'll hear from us again at the end of this month. But we'll give you more information next episode about what this podcast could turn into. Because who knows? We could do a few summer episodes. That could be fun. But just a little heads up. But this podcast has been super fun. This was our first little take of doing a mini-sode where we kind of just yap about our own interests and what we enjoy to do. And I think it's been really fun. I mean, Holly can't speak because her laptop died. Poor Holly. But I really enjoyed it because I think it's really fun to talk about our own individual interests. If you want to know more about our legislative team, You can find out more on the Our Future website or the Our Future Instagram, which are both plugs, so you should go check them out. They do a lot of really cool work, and I'm always kind of jealous of all the stuff that you get to do because I just don't live close and I can't take time off of school to go, but I am just super happy that kids are getting involved and yeah. Anyway, this has been our first mini-sode. Well, not so many, but I hope you enjoyed it and you will hear from us pretty soon. And I believe that means class is dismissed. Bye, y'all. Have a good day.